any new? We have Alia, Anya, Adisa, are you new today? Adisa Indumina, are you new today? Then we have Dihansa, Gitmi, Jevindu, Maria, Sanjana, Sashedi, Stephanie, Tenuji, Tarusha. Okay, so here are the notices that I have, right? So I think Miss Divya has already sent you the lesson notes for lesson 6 and lesson 8. So lesson 6 is the cell lesson, which is super Canva, but it's pretty simple. So I will send you the recording for that, which you have to watch during this week, because next week we are going to do some questions. Then in addition to that, lesson 8, which is characteristics of living organisms, again, it's a pretty simple lesson, right? ඒකෙත් note එක මං හිතන්නේ මිස් දිව්‍යා group එකේ එවන්න ඇති මගේ WhatsApp එකට මට පෙවුනා. Yeah, she has sent, no? So again, that also the recording will be shared with you. A lessons became recordings. Maybe එක ඇතුළත තමයි බලන්න ඕනේ. Right? So lesson 6, lesson 8, you have to watch the recordings within this week, because next week අපිට වැටෙන්නේ 7 වෙනිදා 7th of July class එකේ I'm going to test. I'm going to do a quiz, right? So this time I'm going to like දැන් ගිය පාරත් ඔක්කොම quiz marks බැලුවානේ, but මේ මාසේ අපිට හරියට quiz එකක් කරගන්න බැරි වුණා. But next week, we are going to do a quiz from lesson 6 and 8, because we are not doing the lesson during the class. Both those lessons recordings will be shared. That's the first notice. Is that clear to all of you? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Then another something that I did with අපිට ඉක්මනට මේක ඉවර කරගන්නනේ ඕනේ. මේ වැඩ ටික ඉක්මනට හොඳට ඉවර කරගන්න තමයි ඕනේ. Right? That is our intention. So that අපිට reproduction lesson එකෙන් පස්සේ ඉතුරු ටික ටට්ටක් ගාලා කරලා grade 11 start කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ, right? Because grade 11 is the most serious year. අපි එන අවුරුද්දේ August වෙද්දී ඔක්කොම syllabus ඉවර කරනවා. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි 5 months වලට කලින් වගේ syllabus ඉවර කරනවා class එකේ. That has been like a ritual for the past, I would say 4 years වගේ. Yeah, around 4 years. අපි අගෝස්තු ජුලයි අගෝස්තු වෙද්දී වගේ syllabus එක ඉවර කරනවා. ගිය අවුරුද්දට කලින් අවුරුද්දේ we finished the syllabus I think in June මේ කාලේ වගේ වෙද්දී අපි syllabus ඉවර කළා. July we started doing past paper. No. July we finished the syllabus. But then ඒ අවුරුද්දේ ගොඩක් කල් තිබ්බ past papers කරන්න. මොකද exam postpone වුණානේ. I think in that year the exam was held in May. May තමයි තිබ්බේ exam එක COVID අරගෙන හින්දා delay වෙලා. So there was a lot of time for us to do past papers. ඒ batch එකේ ළමයින්ගේ මගේ results මාරම හොඳයි. I think C, I think none of them got C. කීප දෙනෙක්ට B තිබ්බා, but A's ගොඩාක් තිබ්බා ඒ batch එකේ. මොකද past papers ගොඩාක් කල් කරා. But ගිය අවුරුද්දෙත් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හොඳයි results, but ඊට කලින් අවුරුද්දේ තමයි හොඳම results තිබ්බේ. As I said, I think my ගිය අවුරුද්දේ results, the ගිය අවුරුද්දේ කියන්නේ මේ ළඟදී results ආපු කට්ටියගේ results I may have told you already. There are like 2 C's, a few B's, but again a lot of A's, so I'm very, very happy about them. Again, mostly thanks to the past paper revision that we did. So, අපි බලමු දැන් එන batch එකේ කොහොමද කියලා, because they will be facing exams in 6 months. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ past paper revision එකත් July end එකේ පටන් ගන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයගලන්ට senior batch එක. Yes, technically yes. You only have 1 more year to learn syllabus, right? After that, we are doing past paper revision. And අපි මේ විදිහට කරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා past paper revision එක හරියට ඉවර කරගත්තාම I can guarantee you an A, right? ඒක මම කලින් batches වලත් ළමයින්ට promise කරා. But of course you have to do as I say. නිකන් class එකට, because in the class we are only there with each other for 2.5 hours a week. But there's some work that you have to do out of the class during the week also. So I make y'all a plan. I make a study plan. grade 11 වල තමයි අපි කරන්නේ. Excuse me. So a study plan එකේ විදිහට වැඩ කරාම I can guarantee, I can promise you an A. But you have to work exactly like that. Exactly according to that plan, right? So yeah, I hope that the batch senior to you, then grade 11 in a year, I hope they get better results, and then I hope you will get even better results. So yeah, our fingers crossed for that. But ඒකට උනි ෆවුන්ඩේෂන් එක අපි දැන් ඉඳන්ම ලේ කරගන්න ඕනේ. මොකද හෙට පාස් පේපර් රිවිෂන් එක පටන් ගන්න ඕන කියලා මට මේ වීක් එකේ මතක් වෙලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ next week pass paper revision එක. So next year pass paper revision එකට අපි දැන් ඉඳන්ම ලෑස්ති වෙනවා. How? We have to finish the syllabus fast. Unlike previous batches, අපේ batch එකේ චුට්ටක් අපිට lessons delay වුණා මේ පාර because of some unavoidable circumstances. But we'll try to catch up and then fall back to the track, right? අපිට චූටි delay එකක් තියෙනවානේ ඇත්තටම දැන් second term test එකත් ඔයගලන්ට එනවානේ. So අපිට පොඩි delay එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ delay එක අපි ඉක්මනට make up කරගන්න ඕනේ. ඒකට I need your support for that. And we will do it, right? We will do it, and we'll somehow get an A for O levels, because always remember, whatever said and done, your end goal is O levels, right? O levels is your end goal. And ekata, so one notice, as I said, is lesson 6 and 8 recordings. And another suggestion I have is, because Kalim batch eකට මේක කරා lesson 13 මම cover කළේ recording වලින්. හැබැයි ඒකට අපි during the class, after you watch the recording, we did a worksheet. So then maybe එකේ lesson 6 and 8 recordings එක මම එවනවා. ඒක බලලා next Tuesday, right? Next Tuesday means 6th of July. 6th July අපි lesson 6 and 8 දෙකේ quiz එක කරනවා. Quiz එක කරලා we do the other lessons. And then in that week, right, a week එකේ මම lesson 13 එකේ recording එකේ එවුවොත්, because lesson 13 එකේ ලොකුවට concepts නැහැ. It's all just a bunch of theory, and it's like a story. Lesson 13, which is the world of life. එක evolution ගැන story එකක්, ඊට පස්සේ ඒවා කොහොමද story එකක් විදිහට යන්නේ. So I have a suggestion. What do you think about covering that lesson through a recording, but after the recording, 6th November 7th, after the recording on 14th of July, we will be doing a quiz for that as well. Lesson 13 එකට quiz එකක් කරනවා. So if you can watch the recording, and after watching the recording, if you get any questions, you can collect them, and then we can do a discussion during the class. That way we can save some time. Okay, Thenuji, okay. What about others? Give me a thumbs up if you are okay with that idea. Okay. Tarusha, what do you think? Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. I think that's a good plan, no? එතකොට අපි ගානට back on track. මොකද අද අපි chemical bonds කරනවා, and then next week we can start the reproduction lesson. Reproduction lesson, there is a bit of concept. ඒකේ concept තියෙනවා. ඒකින්ද ඒක class එකේ අපි කරන්න ඕනේ. Lesson 13 මම කරන්නේ ඒකේ concept එකක් කියලා නෑ. It's just theory, stories and all that. Right? Okay. Sounds like a good plan. We can start. So I think we did a little bit about chemical bonds. We just started. I think we put a topic and we wrote something, as far as I remember. Can somebody tell me what happened last week? What are chemical bonds? Okay. Okay. All right. Again, අපි අන්තිමට ලියලා තියෙන්නේ chemical bonds can be divided into two types, ionic and covalent. Others all good? Is that right? Okay. ඔයගලන් පොඩ්ඩක් තව චූටි එක දෙයක් තියෙනවා කියන්න in addition to what I said earlier දැන් මතක් වෙච්ච වෙලේ කිව්වේ නැත්නම් I will forget. So you have already received lesson 6 and 8 PDFs. ඉස්සරහට ගොඩක් lessons අතරම PDF තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Right? ඉස්කෝලේ වගේ නෙවෙයි. ඉස්කෝලේ you meet 5 times a week, but in the class we only meet 2.5 hours for the entire week. So there's a lot to cover and you have a massive syllabus. So ඒක හින්දා ගොඩාක් notes අතර මම PDF තමයි දැන් හදන්නේ batches දෙක තුනක ඉඳලා තමයි මම ඒක පටන් ගත්තේ. Except for like very complicated lessons with like calculations and all that අනිත් ඒවා ගොඩාක් PDF notes තියෙනවා. ඒකෙන් අපිට ගොඩාක් time save කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ time එක we can utilize to do questions, which is more important, right? So for lesson 13, which is the world of life, and lesson 14, which is reproduction, for both those lessons also we have PDFs. ඒ PDF notes ටික මම ඇත්තට මේ ටිකත් LMS එකට අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්න කියලා කිව්වා. එතකොට ඕගලන්ට ඒකත් හුරු වෙනවනේ LMS එක use කරන්න. But I think Miss Divya, I think she sent in the group, right? But lesson 13, 14 notes, I will upload to the LMS. So I think all of you have login details. So you can log in and download the notes, right? So just a heads up on that. Alright, we can start. So, one second. I think Alia, you have sent some questions. Can you send me a reminder at around 8:30 so that we could discuss those questions as well? Okay. So, one second. Okay, Lama. Now, ionic bonds, covalent bonds, Kila. Okay, can you put a subtopic ionic bonds? This lesson, some of you have texted me saying that it's a little difficult, but trust me, it's not that difficult, right? We'll make sure that it's very simple and easy. You just have to understand. මොකක්ද මේක වෙන්නේ? නිකන් theory කටපාඩම් කරන්න යන්න එපා. Okay? Okay. Ionic bonds. Then let's write a small point. Sometimes ionic bonds are also called electrovalent bonds, right? So put the topic and please write this sentence. That's a good question. Not yet, actually. I was planning to do it today, but I didn't have time. Students of the month, I think tomorrow me and Miss Divya will select and I'll put in the group. Someone group එකේ දැම්මම ඔයගලන්ට last week I think ඔයගලන්ට last month එකේ group එකේ දැම්මේ නෑ. I just announced during the class. But this month I will, since we will only be meeting next week, ne? So for students of the month for June, I will put in the group. So yeah, my grade 11 science class ke group pe dala, so none of the students even reacted. So him group pe dam hama put it. Ogala group pe put active tiagan. I know you guys use WhatsApp a lot. So it would be nice if you could keep the group active. So for an example, then Alia, you have sent some questions that were confusing for you, right? So ඒ වගේ හා group එකට කෙලින්ම දැම්ම නම් හරි. So that we all can have like maybe a discussion, because I'm also in the group. Excuse me. So I'm sorry. So yes.
Excuse me, miss.
Yes.
Can you please remind what is ions?
Yes, I'll remind on that. අපි එක discuss කරන් යනකොට බලමු. For now, just write it because as we're discussing, we are coming across that term. Okay. Now we are going to straight away go for an example when it comes to ionic bonds, right? අපි බලනවා, so we are going to consider a compound called sodium chloride, right? Sodium chloride is that sodium chloride කොහම ඔයගලන් දන්නවද? Do you all know how to write the chemical formula of sodium chloride? Do you? Do you all know how to write the chemical formula of sodium chloride? දන්න කට්ටිය බලන්න, you can give me a thumbs up. Okay, others? Okay. So how do you write the chemical formula? We have already learned in lesson 3 that we cross the valencies. So as you know, sodium in the periodic table, now you should know the periodic table by heart. Periodic table memorize kalla tiyendu. We already discussed how valency works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The sodium in the first group again and valency 1. Chlorine in the 7th group again valence 1. So cross sunama we get sodium chloride. Now that was just crossing valence. Yes, Ashwini.
Is aluminium a metal or metalloid?
Aluminium is a metal. Remember that our periodic table ke padipela තියෙනවා කියලා අපි කිව්වේ. So padipela starts from boron, And then මෙතන silicon. මේ දෙන තමයි metalloids. මේ පැත්තේ ඉන්න කටිය metals, මේ පැත්තේ ඉන්න කටිය non-metals. Also this hydrogen is a non-metal too. Okay?
Okay, Miss, thank you.
Okay. So now this was just crossing valences. Today we are learning the story, what actually happens, right? Okay. So let's write example 1, sodium chloride. Make a liyan naha because I will give you time to write. Let's first okay. So in sodium chloride, what happens is can you all tell me the electronic configuration of sodium? Electronic configuration of sodium.
2, 5.
No. Okay, are these
2, 8, 1. 2, 8, 1. Sorry.
1? Okay, Sashili says 281. Maria says 281. Yes, it's yes, Sanjana. It's 281. So I'm gonna draw this atom. Main is sodium. This is the nucleus of sodium. This is the nucleus of sodium. Okay. And this is the first energy level. Sorry. This is the first energy level. Then this is the second energy level. And this is the third energy level. As you can see, sodium has 3 energy levels, right? So this is the third energy level. I will make these a little smaller because otherwise it's taking a lot of space. All right. So now let's draw the atoms. The methane atoms we are going to draw. Now look very carefully how I'm going to draw. First energy level has 2 electrons, right? So first energy level, the 2 electrons we are drawing like this. 1, 2. Across the first energy level like electrons. Then second energy level has 8 electrons. And this is how we draw it. First I draw 1, 2, 3, 4. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි ඊළඟ round එකේ තමයි ඊටු ටික complete කරන්න. Always when you're drawing electrons, first energy level just 2. From second energy level onwards, you always write 1, 2, 3, 4. ඊට පස්සේ තමයි 5, 6, 7, 8 කියලා fill කරන්න. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a practice, huh? That's a practice in chemistry. You always have to do like that. 7, 8. Then third energy level, we only have 1. That 1, I will draw it here. You can draw it anywhere. It doesn't really matter because there's only 1. Harida. Okay. Now, we know all atoms want to be stable, right? But noble gases, they are anyway stable. For an example, helium electronic configuration is 2. Neon is 28. Argon is 288. These are noble gases, no? They are anyway stable and they have a very stable electronic configuration. But other atoms are not stable. But they want to be stable. Hama atom ekakatama one noble gas එකක් වගේ ඉන්න. Then sodium ගත්තොත් එයා කොහොමද stable වෙන්නේ? එයාට පුළුවන් මේක remove කරලා 28 වෙන්න. Because 28 is a stable configuration. It can remove 1 and become 28. Or it can take 7 and become 288. That is also a stable configuration. Will sodium remove 1? Will it be easy to remove 1 or take 7?
Remove.
Yes, removing 1 is easier. නැත්නම් 7ක් 7 හොයන්න එපායි, but removing one is much easier. So මොකද වෙන්නේ? This sodium will remove one electron. Remove minus one electron, right? Minus one electron means removing. Now let's see what happens. Now this was sodium earlier. Now what has happened? Sodium has removed one electron. Which electron? The outermost electron. Element electron එක එයා remove කරා. ඒ කියන්නේ last energy level එකේ there are no electrons, no, so I will erase that energy level. So this is what we have. Now since it removed an electron, now what we have is 2, 8 විතරයි. 2, 8, 1 නෙවෙයි, just wait. Up to that point, is it clear? Give me a thumbs up. The answer? Anita, thumbs up. Another. If any of you have any question, let me know. Okay. Now, next step is charges, right? I think we are coming to the question that Sashari asked about ions, right? We'll see. Now, if you take just a sodium atom, the may sodium atom make a normal in a one electron remove karam in a vidya. But let's look at the normal sodium atom, that is this. Normal sodium atom make what is the atomic number of sodium? What is the atomic number of sodium? 11.
11.
Correct. That means how many protons does sodium have?
11.
11. Because atomic number is the number of protons. So if sodium has an atomic number of 11, that means number of protons is 11. What is the charge of one proton?
One.
Plus, yes. Positive. එතකොට එක proton එක plus නම් now there are 11 protons, no? That would be plus 11. So sodium ගත්තාම එයාගේ atomic number 11, that means it has 11 protons, right? Since the charge of protons is positive, here the charge is plus 11. And we know in any atom, the number of protons and the number of electrons are equal. Protons and electrons equal, nene? If there are 11 protons, there are 11 electrons. And the charge of electrons is minus. So, henang metanene minus. Then what is the total charge?
Positive.
No. Plus 11 minus 11. That means?
There's no positive
Zero.
or negative.
Yeah.
Even, neutral.
Correct. Even, neutral, that means 0. As the total charge is 0, that means there's no charge. Is that clear to everybody? Please give me a thumbs up. Okay. Then let's move on to this one. This is a little special, right? The මෙයා product special මොකද එයාගේ එක electron එකක් අපි අයින් කරා. To be for this atom to become stable, because it had 281 එයා stable නැහැ. So අපි මොකද කරේ? ආව stable කරන්න stable කියන්නේ 28. So we removed one electron. So let's look at this special one, special case. How many protons does this sodium have? Mm-hmm. Okay, Maria. Okay, Sanjana.
11.
Okay, Sasheli. It's 11 because protons didn't change, no? Yes, Anya. Metan 11 protons, na? Metan 11. Mukad api protons wala mukut karene. Lamai protons wala mukut apita karanna baha. In your syllabus, whatever we are doing, we cannot touch protons. If you want to touch protons, that is called nuclear reactions or nuclear bombs, nuclear labs. ඒ වගේ වල වෙන්නේ protons එක්ක protons neutrons එක්ක තමයි වැඩ කරන්නේ. අපි protons neutrons අල්ලන්නේ නැහැ. That's a little too complicated for us. We can only change electrons. Here protons වලට we did not do anything. The only thing we did was we removed one electron. So protons, no change. It's still plus 11. How many electrons are there now? Yes, give me. Yes, Maria.
10.
Yes, Sashani. It's 10. And electrons are negatively charged. I think I 10 no because we removed one electron, right? Now it's 10. Okay. So electrons are negatively charged, so it's minus 10. It's recording. No? Now what is the total charge here? Yes, Maria. Plus 11 minus 10 would be plus, yes, give me, plus 1. Onna balanna, this special sodium got a charge. So how do we show a charge? මේ diagram එකේ charge එකක් පෙන්නද්දී අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? මේ ලොකු එකේනාට මෙහෙම square bracket එකක් දාලා we put a plus, correct. But නිකන් chemical symbol එකට charge එකක් දානවා නම් we just put a plus like this. Right? So this is what we call an ion. Right? Yes, Abdullah. Do you have any question? Okay. If you have any question, you can even let me know in the chat box. So you can raise the hand and talk as well. Okay, so I have a question. Do we put plus 1 or just plus? 1 තියනේවට නිකම් plus minus දාන්න පුළුවන්. But 2, 3 වගේ තියෙනවා නම් අපි number එක දාන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මෙතන just 1 නේ. ඒක නිකම් plus minus දැම්මම ඇති. හිතන්න මෙතන plus 2 කියලා. Plus 2 වගේ නම් අපි දාන්න මෙහෙම. දැන් for an example අපි magnesium ගමු. Magnesium හදන්නේ plus 2. Plus 2 අපි ලියනකොට ලියන්නේ මුලින්ම නම් එක දාලා ඊට පස්සේ charge 2 plus කියලා. So අපි මේ magnesium ඇන්දොත් එහෙම that would be 2 plus. We'll do it later on, but just because you asked. So, okay. ඔන්නෝම තමයි charge එකක් එන්නේ, and this is what we call an ion. This is an ion. This is an ion. Any atom or a group of atoms with a charge, we call it an ion. I think, Sashali, I answered your question there, but like about ions. Is this part clear, Lamai, before we move on to the next one? Okay, great.
Miss, could you repeat that, please? The definition.
Yes, ion එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ any atom or a group of atoms with a charge. It could be one atom, but if you remember in lesson 3 we learned about polyatomic ions or radicals අපි කිව්වේ groups තියෙනවා SO4 2 minus, CO3 2 minus, PO4 3 minus. Those are groups of atoms and they could also have a charge. Yes. Then only මෙන්න මේම උනා sodium. Right? Okay, now let's keep sodium aside and then let's move on to chlorine. බලමු chlorine ට මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා. All right. What is the electronic configuration of chlorine? Chlorine. What is the electronic configuration of chlorine? Very good.
17.
17 is atomic number. 287 is the electronic configuration. Yes. Okay, good. I'm getting so many answers in the chat box. Very good, Lamai. You guys are very active. And you are unmuting and speaking, putting answers in the chat box. That's the level of participation I want. Okay. Chlorine is 287. Now let's draw this. Draw it's going to be a little messy. Just bear with me. This is the nucleus. This is the first energy level. Then second, this is the second energy level. And this is the third energy level. Now let's mark electrons. On the first energy level, there are only 2 electrons. So we just mark like this. Second energy level, there are 8 electrons. So how do we mark? Mulima 1, 2, 3, 4. We go the first round. And I ilang round එක යනවා ඒකේ තමයි ඉතුරු ටික fill කරා 5 6 7 8 then third energy level එකේ there are 7 electrons 1 2 3 4 ඊළඟ round එක යනවා 5 6 7 that's it. Now, just like sodium earlier, chlorine also wants to be stable. Chlorine is stable when it can remove 7. If chlorine removes 7, that would be 2,8. If chlorine takes 1, it will be 2,8,8. So, will chlorine remove 7 or take 1? Okay. Yes, Maria. Yes, give me. Yes, Sanjana. Yes, easiest option would be to take 1 electron rather than removing 7. Taking 1 means just 1. Removing 7 means it's 7. So, so this will take 1 electron. Okay, let's see what happens. May I take 1 electron? Now, this is the previous chlorine. This is the new chlorine. See, so that would be not 287 now, it's 288 now. Okay. Up to that point, is it clear to all of you? Okay, great. Now, just like previously, we'll look at protons, electrons, and the charge, right? So, if you take chlorine, what is the atomic number? Correct. Others? Yes, Maria. Yes, Sanjana. It's 17. Atomic number is 17. Yes, give me. Atomic number is the number of protons. So, if atomic number is 17, number of protons is also 17. And we know protons are positively charged. So, this will be plus 17. Since protons and electrons are equal, electrons also there are 17. Since electrons are negatively charged, that would be minus 17. So, total charge will be plus 17. Yes, Maria. Plus 17 minus 17, that would be 0. Yes, give me. That would be 0. No charge. But now let's look at this one. Number of protons doesn't change, no? I told you we can't do anything to the number of protons. So, komat 17 because atomic number is also 17. So, protons are positively charged, so it's positive 17. Now, how many electrons are here? Others? Yes, Maria, yes, keep me. Now, this took 1 electron. So the number of electrons has increased by 1. Kaliන් තිබ 17 and then 18 electrons. And we know electrons are negatively charged. So now what happens to the total charge? That would be plus 17 minus 18. That would be minus 1. Yes, Adisa. Yes, Maria. Correct. It's minus 1. And කොහොමද අපි charge එක පෙන්නනවා කියලා කිව්වේ? If it's the diagram, we put a square bracket like this. And we put positive like this. If it's just the chemical symbol, we just, oh no, not plus, minus. අපි මේව minus එක දාමු. Up to this point, is it clear to all of you? Okay. ඇත්තම කතාව ළමයි මෙතන මේ දෙන්න වෙන වෙනම නෙවෙයි වෙන්නේ. Right? මේ දෙන්න වෙන්නේ මොකද්ද දන්නවද? ඇත්තටම මෙතන සෝඩියම් ටෝන ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකක් remove කරන්න ක්ලෝරින් ටෝන remove ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකක් ගන්න. So මෙතන මම නිකන් කිව්වා sodium is removing an electron. මෙතන මම නිකන් කිව්වා chlorine is taking an electron. But atoms cannot randomly remove and take electrons. What actually happens is that මෙතන chlorine ගන්නේ මෙතන sodium remove කරපු එකන. Okay. So even though I just said this is removing, this is taking, what actually happens is that the electron that sodium is removing to become stable, that is the electron that chlorine will take to become stable. Harida. Now they have become, sodium has become sodium plus, chlorine has become chlorine minus. Now we know in nature, always positive and negative attract. හැමලෙම plus minus attract වෙනවා. එහෙනම් මොකද වෙන්නේ? Now sodium is sodium positive, right? Now sodium is sodium positive. Chlorine is chlorine negative. Now they are oppositely charged. දැන් මෙහෙම ඉන්න දෙන්න මෙහෙම attract වෙලා ලං වෙලා ඉන්නවා. So ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ළමයි මේ energy levels මෙහෙම overlap වෙන්නේ නැහැ bond එකක් හදද්දී. The energy levels are not connecting. Can you see any connection? They are not physically connected. The only thing is that මෙයා plus මෙයා minus ඉඳා මාර strongly attract වෙලා ඉන්න. Because in nature always positive and negative attract. So we call this an ionic bond or an electrovalent bond. So bond එකක් කොහොම හැමලෙම අපි හිතන්නේ physically මෙහෙම connect වෙනවා කියලානේ. මේ දෙන physically connect වෙලා නැහැ. But they are staying very close to each other because positive and negative attract. Is that clear ළමයි? ඔච්චර තමයි ionic bonds. Is it that difficult? What do you think? Is it difficult or easy? Okay. Others? Okay, others? Okay, yes, Asheli.
This part you only have to draw, right?
Yes, සමහර වෙලාවට මේ diagrams and නැතත් කමක් නැහැ. But depending on the question again, but sometimes you have to draw these diagrams, sometimes you just have to understand what happens and the ලියන්න වගේ එමෙන්න ඒවා තියෙනවා. මේ lesson එකට අපි worksheet එකක් කරමු. Bit difficult. Okay. අපි තව එක example එකක් කරමු. I will let you do this alone. So see, sodium plus chlorine minus. හැබැයි අපි ලියද්දි මේ plus minus ලියන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. We can just write sodium chloride. This is about the formation of sodium chloride. Okay. So don't worry about everything else. මේ lesson එකේ තියෙන අනෙක් ඒවා හිතන්න එපා. මේ part එක විතරක් clearද? Just this part I'm asking. Is it clear to all of you? That's all I want to know. Hi. Okay, shall we start drawing? Because then I want you all to try one alone. Then there's a little bit of writing that we have to do. And then let's move on to covalent bonds. Okay, start drawing, ළමයි. Mama, try පොඩ පළහට scroll කරන්න. So quickly draw. I will not set a timer because එක I draw කරන්න එක වෙලා ගන්නවානේ, but just do it fast. Fast and correct. Quickly. If you have any questions, you can ask. I will slowly scroll down now.
Excuse me, miss.
Yes, Sasheli.
Miss, why did you put brackets when you remove one electron and get the conclusion?
When I remove
खैनी
one,
गुटखा तंबाकू पान पान मसाला
I'm sorry, Lama, my Google Chrome was open and මොකක් හරි click වෙලා video එකක් play වුණා. Sorry. One second. I can't find where it's playing. Okay, doesn't matter. So, Sashil, your question was why we put a bracket here for the plus. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
So I was wondering why when you remove one electron and like get the final answer like Na equals 2,8 and you put bracket, did you put the bracket to tell the positive sign or like the energy of the
Here, this
element?
one. For this one.
Yes.
So
like
that's just okay. Without brackets na nikam මෙහෙම තියෙදි නිකම් plus එකක් නේ. ඊට වඩා පිළිවෙලයිනේ with brackets that's the only reason. Otherwise, there's not much of like a big reason for that. The only thing is so that it's a little neat. A little neat and tidy when we put like square bracket and properly put a plus. එතකොට මේ plus එක මේ මුළු එකටම අයිති කියලා අපිට පේනවානේ. That's the only reason. Okay.
okay, miss, thank you.
Okay. Shall I scroll down a bit? Okay. I'm scrolling to chlorine. Make it fast. I'll give you 1 minute and then I'll scroll down. All right, I'll scroll down. Okay, Nama, I think that's enough time. Did all of you finish drawing? Okay, others, give me a thumbs up if you have finished. Okay. Others? Anybody who needs more time? Okay. All right. I will give you 2 minutes. I'll set a timer for 2 minutes and then we can move on to the next one. Make it fast. Okay, Rame. Now, I want you all to try one alone. Okay. So, put example 2. Okay. Magnesium oxide, and you have to draw this alone. So here, magnesium electronic configuration you know, so you can decide what it does. Then oxygen electronic configuration you know, so you can decide. For this, I will give you like 8 minutes to figure it out and try as much as you can. Is that clear? The instructions clear. The mulima magnesium electronic configuration what it does. So, mama put it starter then now. You know, magnesium electronic configuration is 2, 8, 2. It can take 7 or remove 2. So obviously it will remove 2 because that's easier, right? So එතකොට දෙකක් දැන් මෙතන අපි කරේ 1 electron නේ. Now in this new example it will be 2 electrons. Okay, I'll set a timer. Make it fast. I hope you are doing. You have about 2 minutes more. Do you all need more time? Give me a thumbs up if you have finished. Okay. So, okay. I think some of you need a little bit of time. But how about, shall we slowly discuss it? Since we are also running out of time a little, අපි හිමින් discuss කරගෙන යමු. Okay? So, එතකොට මම discuss කරන අතරේ ඔයාලට complete කරන්න පුළුවන් and or you can stop and we'll do the rest of it together. So magnesium 282, right? So this is the nucleus of magnesium. And this is the first energy level. This is the second energy level. This is the third energy level. All right. So 282. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in the last energy level, 1, 2 කියලා එක ළඟ දෙකක් අඳින්නේ නැහැ. I told you how to feel, right? So 1, 2. හැමලෙම එක round එකක් feel කරලා ඉතුරු ටික තමයි ඊළඟ round එකේ feel කරන්නේ. So මෙහෙම තමයි magnesium ඉන්නේ. Now we know magnesium would rather remove 2 than take 6. So magnesium will remove 2 electrons. So when magnesium removes 2 electrons, how will it look like? දැන් මෙන්න මේ electrons දෙකේ remove කරනවා. So this is how magnesium will look like without those 2 electrons. So that would be magnesium, which is 2,8. Now let's look at protons, electrons, and neutrons. We know magnesium's atomic number is 12. right? So there are 12 protons and 12 electrons, and electrons are negatively charged. So total charge would be plus 12 minus 12, that is 0. Okay. Here, protons doesn't change, so that's plus 12. But electrons, magnesium has removed 2. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් electrons ඉන්නේ 10 විතරයි. So that would be minus 10. So the total charge would be plus 12 minus 10. ඒ කියන්නේ කොච්චරක්ද ළමයි total charge එක? Correct. That would be plus 2. So how do we indicate it here? We can put a bracket like this. So plus 2 එක අපි ලියන්නේ plus 2 නෙවෙයි 2 plus. Here also we put 2 plus. Right? Plus 2 නෙවෙයි 2 plus. Then අනිත් එක නේ oxygen. Let's quickly check what happens to oxygen. Oxygen's configuration is 2 6. So will oxygen remove 6 or take 2? Will oxygen remove 6 or take 2? Correct. Oxygen will take 2 නේ. 6ක් remove කරනකොට දෙකක් ගන්න එකට ලේසි. And අපි දන්නවා යා magnesium remove කරන දෙක තමයි යා ගන්නෙ නේ. We already know that. So these two that magnesium removes only, oxygen is taking. I already told you that part. So now oxygen has 2 energy levels, no? So let's quickly show that here. Like this. So 2 electrons in the first energy level, 6 in the second energy level. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then yeah, 2 electrons ගන්නවනේ. So that would be plus 2 electrons. ඒ කියන්නේ now it will have 2 extra. So මේ තැන් දෙක යා fill කරනවා. So that means now the configuration of oxygen will be 2 8 because it took 2 electrons. So if we look at the total charge, what is the atomic number of oxygen, Lamai? What is the atomic number of oxygen? Correct, 8. So protons will be plus 8, electrons will be minus 8. So total charge would be plus 8 minus 8, that is 0. If you take here, protons is plus 8, electrons now is minus 10. So total charge is plus 8 minus 10, that would be minus 2. So how do we show it here? 2 minus, metana 2 minus. Am I please give me 1 second. Na? Okay, I'm sorry, Lamai. So we get -2. So -2 api dama 2 minus kila. So that means what happens is here we have Mg2 plus and here we have O2 minus. Since they are positive and negative, they will be attracted. So Mg2 plus and oxygen 2 minus will be attracted. That forms the ionic compound MgO. Is this clear to all of you, Lamai? Give me a thumbs up, please. Hari. For any recorrections, I will give you 2 minutes and we will move on to the next part.
Miss, shouldn't magnesium be negative and oxygen be positive with 2?
Uh, no, because magnesium is 282. Ne? So since magnesium is 282, එයා කැමති දෙකක් අයින් කරන්න. So එයා දෙකක් අයින් කරාම මොකද වෙන්නේ? The number of electrons becomes 10. So protons doesn't change. Proton is still plus 12, but electrons is minus 10. So the total charge becomes plus 2. Plus 12 minus 10 is plus 2. On the other hand, if you take oxygen, it likes to take 2. Right? So එතකොට protons ගාන වෙනස් වෙන්නේ, but electrons now the number has increased. Now there are 10 electrons. So then plus 8 minus 10 becomes minus 2. That's why oxygen is minus and magnesium is plus. Is it clear, sir, Shelly?
Could you explain that again, please?
Yes. So now here magnesium is 282. So it likes to remove 2 electrons rather than taking 6. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. So now, earlier magnesium has 12 protons and 12 electrons. So plus 12 and minus 12, total charge is 0. But now, protons gonna වෙනස් වෙන්නේ, it will still be plus 12. But electrons දැන් එයා දෙකක් අයින් කරලානේ. Now electrons will be only 10. Right? Electrons will be only 10. දෙකක් අයින් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඉස්සර 12 තිබ්බ දැන් 10. So that is minus 10. So plus 12 minus 10, the total charge would be plus 2. That's why magnesium got 2 plus. Is that clear, Sasheli?
Yes.
Okay, then oxygen. Oxygen is 2, 6. එයා 6ක් අයින් කරනවට වඩා කැමති දෙකක් ගන්නනේ. So earlier 8 protons, 8 electrons, total charge is 0. දැන් එයා electrons දෙකක් ගන්නවා. දෙකක් ගත්තාම protons is still 8, it doesn't change. But electrons then දෙකක් වැඩි වෙලා, now there are 10 electrons. So that would be minus 10. So plus 8 minus 10 would be minus 2. Okay. So is that clear, sir, Shelly?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll give you 1 more minute. Quickly do recorrections. Huh? Sure, get me. Okay, Rama. Now let's move on. Then we talked about sodium chloride, we talked about magnesium oxide. Now sodium chloride okay, sodium chloride in the nature. Sodium and chlorine together, sodium chloride. So make a sodium chloride එකක්, මේ තව sodium chloride එකක්, මේ තව sodium chloride එකක්, මේ තව එකක්. ඔහොම වෙන වෙනම ඉන්නවා කියලා තමයි අපි හිතන්නේ. We think these sodium chloride units are existing individually. But that's not the truth. That's not the reality. ඇත්තටම ඉන්නේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම. They make something called a lattice. Now for this, I will straight away take the image from the textbook. ඒගොල්ලන් ඇත්තටම ළමයි මේ වගේ 3D structure එකක් හදලා තමයි ඉන්නේ. So here, what is shown in red are sodium atoms. What is shown in green are chlorine atoms. So that මෙහෙම ඉරිරි තිබ්බට ඉරිරි විදියට නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ, something like this. මෙහෙම sodium එක්කෙනෙක් මෙහෙම sodium එක්කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. මෙහෙම chlorine එක්කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. මෙහෙම chlorine එක්කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. මෙහෙම chlorine, chlorine, chlorine. Then sodium, sodium, sodium. Right? So they have these attractions, positive, negative attraction එක තියෙනවා. අර විදියටම තමයි. Like this. So they have that attraction. ඒ වගේ මෙහෙම පැත්තටත් තියෙනවා. There is sodium plus, there's chlorine minus, then we have chlorine minus, we have sodium plus, sodium plus, chlorine minus, and then පල්ලෙහාටත් එහෙමයි, chlorine minus, sodium plus. So it's not just like this, but මීට වඩා ලොකු lattice, මේවට කියන අපි lattice structures කියලා. So there could be structures bigger than this. There could be 100 sodium ions and 100 chlorine atoms in one lattice. There could be 1,000 sodium ions and 1,000 chlorine ions in one lattice. However many කොච්චර sodium ions with chlorine ions with තිබ්බත්, the ratio will be excuse me, the ratio will be 1:1. However many sodium ions will be there, however many chlorine ions will be there, the ratio will be 1:1. But ඇත්තටම the magnesium oxide උනත් ඉන්නේ මේ විදියට. So actually ionic compounds are existing like this. Is this clear ළමයි? අර attraction එක අර විදියටම තමයි හැදෙන්නේ. Only difference is that එක sodium එකක එක chlorine එකකුයි මෙහෙම attract වෙලා ඉන්නව නෙවෙයි. There could be multiple. Is that clear? Give me a thumbs up, please. Okay. Make ඕනේ නැහැ. Just make ඇඳගත්තා නම් පොඩ්ඩක් පොඩි like this. So before this, I will write a small sentence. Okay, math එකම ලියාගන්න ළමයි. I think that will save us time. Okay, quickly write this. Done, ළමයි? Okay, not yet. Okay, I'll give you like 2 minutes. So some of you are also joining the maths class tomorrow. I hope you saw the message that tomorrow's maths class will be held until 10. That would be 7 to 10. I'm not a big fan of extending classes until late, but according to the plan that we have to extend the class a little for tomorrow. So, හෙට maths වෙන කට්ටියත් ඉන්න හින්දායි මම ඒක කිව්වේ. Also, ළමයි, write a small question like this, because this is also what Sashali asked earlier. Just write this as well. I'll set a timer for 1 more minute. මේ draw කරන්න ගොඩක් time spend කරන්න බෑ, just roughly draw කරගන්න ළමයි, yeah? Make it fast. Okay, lamai. Now the next thing that we have to talk about is ionic compounds. So ionic compounds කියන්නේ ionic bonds වලින් හදන compounds. For an example, now we learned sodium chloride. That was our first example. So sodium ion and chlorine ion, there's an ionic bond. And because of that, sodium chloride is an ionic compound. Then the next example we talked about is magnesium oxide. Again, there's an ionic bond, so it's an ionic compound, right? So ඒකේ මහ ලොකු දෙයක් ලියන්න නැහැ. So මහ ලොකු දෙයක් explain කරන්න නැහැ. So let's quickly write that. And then we can move on to covalent bonds. For the topic ionic compounds. මාත් එක්කම ලියන්න so we can save time. Example, sodium chloride, magnesium oxide, then potassium oxide. අර valency cross කරලා අපි අඳින්නේ ඒව ගොඩක් examples for ionic compounds. Calcium fluoride, beryllium oxide, all between metals and non-metals mostly. Then let's try another one. Lithium oxide, like that. But it's not always just these ions. There can be polyatomic ions also, right? So can somebody tell me a polyatomic ion you remember, please? Give me some examples for polyatomic ions you remember. Meanwhile, I'll answer this question. What is the objective? What is the main objective of ionic compounds, ionic bonds? So main objective is actually to become stable. So let's take life, right? So most people, if not all, most people want to be stable in life, right? How do we become stable in life? සාමාන්‍ය මිනිස්සුන්ට තනියෙන් ජීවත් වෙන්න බෑ. Back and berry naha, but it takes a lot of like mental strength because it's difficult to live alone, it's difficult to survive alone, right? So when we cannot survive alone, when we cannot live alone, what do? As people, we make bonds. We make strong bonds with our family, right? To become stable, right? Then we make bonds with friends to become stable. Then later on, we make bonds with like partners to establish families, right? Families are then, all these like, what do you call marriages or like different relationships, right? Those are to become stable. So just like that, ions also to become stable. Because ඒගොල්ලන් configuration එක stable නෑනේ. So they either take electrons or lose electrons to become stable. Okay. So I got some answers for examples for polyatomic ions. එකක් තමයි sulfate. So අපි ගමු example එකක් calcium sulfate. Okay. See, here it's not just, so here this calcium sulfate is made by calcium 2 plus ion and sulfate SO4 2 minus. So this is not just one atom. It's a group of atoms. That's why we call it a radical. Then another examples are hydroxide, carbonate, ammonium, phosphate. Yes. So we can take ammonium chloride. Eka hadila tiyenne ammonium. So that's a group of ions, group of atoms. It's a radical. And chloride. So if again there are other examples like potassium carbonate, valence cross color you can write. Then calcium carbonate, yes. Then sodium hydroxide. So these are some examples. Polyatomic ions කියන්නේ සශීලී දැන් මේ අපි sodium ගත්තොත් it's just one atom මේ atom එකට ion charge එකක් ඇවිල්ලා chloride ion එක ගත්තොත් එimhe just one atom එයාට charge එකක් ඇවිල්ලා magnesium ion එක ගත්තොත් just one ion එයාට charge එකක් ඇවිල්ලා then oxygen ගත්තොත් just one atom එයාට ion එකක් ඇවිල්ලා but polyatomic ions means there's a group sulfate කියන්නේ it's one ion but in that ion, there are several atoms. Sulfate, oxygen, then ammonium. It's one ion, but inside that ion, it's made from 5 atoms. Nitrogen atom and 4 hydrogen atoms. Those are what we call polyatomic ions or radicals. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'll give you 1 minute to finish the note. Then let's move on to covalent bonds. So give me a thumbs up if you have finished. Okay. Okay, great. Others? Okay. Now let's move on to covalent bonds. So in this lesson, I told you we are going to be learning 2 types of bonds, ionic bonds and covalent bonds. So ionic bonds were done. Now we are talking about covalent bonds. So can you all please put the topic covalent bonds? Covalent bonds. That's right. Yes, Maria, right with me. For the second term, you're getting lessons 14th lesson කිවරනකම් එන්න ඕනේ. හරිනම් එන්න ඕනේ until the end of 14th lesson, which is reproduction, as far as I know. Okay. Now, let's see what happens. When it comes to covalent bonds, Namai, we are going to be talking about two types of covalent bonds, right? එක covalent bond එකක් තමයි එකම ජාතිය atoms එකතු වෙලා හදනවා, right? For an example, two oxygen atoms together will form O2. This is a covalent compound. Two nitrogen atoms come together to form N2. Two chlorine atoms come and form Cl2, F2, H2, F2. Do you want to, yeah, O2, N2, H2, F2, Cl2. So these kind of molecules, or O3 කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා, right? So all these kind of molecules, up කියන molecules කියලා, molecules are like groups of atoms. We call them homoatomic molecules because the same type of atoms have come together. Then there's another type of covalent compounds like CO2. There are different types of atoms. H2O, different types of atoms. CH4, different types of atoms. CCl4, again different types of atoms, right? Then we can take like what else? NO2, different types of atoms. These we call heteroatomic molecules. So in covalent compounds, we have two types of molecules as homoatomic and heteroatomic. So we will be discussing these types separately. So අපි චූටියට මෙහෙම පොඩි diagram එකක් ඇඳගමු. Covalent compounds can be divided into two as homoatomic molecules and heteroatomic molecules. And then let's write some example. Homoatomic O2, F2, N2, H2, Cl2. For heteroatomic, we can write CO2, H2O, NH3, CCl4, like that. Quickly write this. All right. Okay. Now put a subtopic, homoatomic molecules. Homoatomic molecules. All right. So, I'm sorry, I think my glasses kind of reflect. I hope it's not too distracting for you all. But if I don't wear my glasses, I think my eyes really hurt because of looking at the screen for a long time. But anyways, yeah, I think it's not a problem, no? Okay. So F2 molecule. So what is the electronic configuration of fluorine? What is the electronic configuration of fluorine?
27.
Okay, others? Others, what do y'all think? Yes, I'm getting the answer in the chat box also. Yes, 27. So 27. Now I will draw fluorine molecule. Fluorine, one atom, right? So this is the nucleus. And this is the first energy level. This is the second energy level. And this is the third energy level. Sorry, third energy level like one nane, but two energy levels only we want. Okay. So now let's fill the electrons. First energy level, there are 2 electrons. So 1, 2. Second energy level, there are 7 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. ඔන්න ඒ වගේ තව කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. Because now we're talking about F2 and F2 can තව fluorine කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා, right? So there's another fluorine. මම මෙන්න මේ දෙන්න ඉන්න තැන් දෙක චුට්ටක් මාරු කරන්න. You will see why, just to show you. It's easy to show like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, 7, like that. Did you understand how I drew the 2 fluorine atoms? Just then I side the kamaru karata mama live. And then, is that clear to all of you? Others?
Yes.
Okay. Then මොකද වෙන්නේ? Now may fluorine 27, this fluorine also 27. That is not stable, right? 27 කියන්නේ stable නෑ. Then මොකද කරන්නේ? මේ fluorine මෙහෙම ඉන්නවා. And may fluorine මෙහෙම ඉන්නවා. What they will do is that they will overlap. They will share electrons. How are they sharing electrons? Let's see. This fluorine and this fluorine. බලන්න මේ දෙන්නගේ මෙතන එක ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන මෙයාට එක ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකක් තියෙනවා මෙයාට එක ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකක් තියෙනවා. So what will happen is that they will overlap. They will come together. Like they will overlap and මේ ෆ්ලෝරින්ට එක ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකක් තිබ්බා මේ ෆ්ලෝරින්ට තව ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකක් තිබ්බා. Now they are sharing the 2 electrons. Right? Oh. මම මෙයා මෙතනට move කරානේ. So what has happened is that they are sharing the 2 electrons. See? Did you understand only up to that part? Rest I will explain. A part එකට එනකන් තේරුණාද? Okay, others? Others? Okay. So මෙයා 27 මෙයා 27 මේ electron එක තනියෙන් හිටියා මෙතනත් මේ electron එක තනියෙන් හිටියා. They overlap and they share. Okay, what is sharing really? Now let's say your mother buys you a pair of slippers, and let's say you have a sister, right? So ආගේ අම්මා කියනවා මේ ඒ slippers දෙක ඔයයි නංගි share කරන්න කියලා. Share කරනවා කියන්නේ ඒකේ ownership එක දෙන්නටම තියෙනවා. Let's say, okay, මට slippers දෙක ගෙනාවා. මට slippers දෙක ගෙනාපක my sister is asking from me. That is borrowing. That's not sharing. But if your mother brings a pair of slippers and asks you to share it with your sister, that means you're both using it. So, a slippers දෙක දෙන්නටම අයිති. Because both of y'all are sharing it. Right? ඒ වගේ දැන් share කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ මෙයාගේ එක ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකයි මෙයාගේ එක ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකයි ඇවිල්ලා they share. Sharing means ළමයි these 2 electrons belong to this fluorine and this fluorine both. දෙන්නටම අයිති. Okay. That means now if you look at this fluorine, let's see යාගේ configuration එක first energy level එකේ there are 2 electrons, no problem. Second energy level එකේ 2, 4, 5, 6. දැන් මේ share කරන දෙන්න මෙයාටත් අයිතිනේ 7, 8. So there will be 8 electrons. See, now it's stable. Right? Now it's stable. If you look at this one, මෙයාගේ first energy level එකේ 2, 2 electrons. Second energy level, if you look at that, here 1, 2, 3, 4, method 3, 4, and then 5, 6. Share කරන දෙන්න මෙයාට තියෙන්නේ. So 7, 8. See, that has also become stable. Ionic bonds, covalent bonds, දෙගොල්ලම හදන්නේ to become stable. See, ionic bonds by giving and taking electrons, they became stable. Here, by sharing electrons only, they are becoming stable. So now, this is the F2 molecule. Is that clear? Do you all have any questions? Others? Anya, Dihansa, Sasheli, Stephanie, Tenuji, is it clear? Okay. Now, හැම වෙලෙම දැන් මේව draw කර කර ඉන්න ගියාම ටිකක් කරදරයි, right? So we have different ways to represent this, right? There are different types of. Yes, I will explain it once more, Stephanie. So what happens here is that if you take one fluorine atom, that is 2, 7. So first energy level එක 2 තියෙනවා, second 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same here. First energy level එක 2 තියෙනවා, second energy level එක 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's why I have written 2, 7, 2, 7. Up to that point, is it clear, Stephanie? You can give me a thumbs up also. Okay. Now what has happened is that මෙතන මේගොල්ලන් නම් මෙහෙම මේ double හැදිලා ඉන්නේ. But මෙයා මෙතන තනියෙන් ඉන්නේ. මෙතනත් මෙයා තනියෙන් ඉන්නේ. What happens is මේ තනියෙන් ඉන්න දෙන්න තමයි share වෙන්නේ. So what happens is now these two atoms will come very close to each other and their energy levels will overlap. Overlap. ඒගොල්ලන් එක ළඟට ඇවිල්ලා මෙහෙම overlap වෙනවා. Overlap වෙලා මෙයාගේ තනියෙන් හිටපු ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකයි මෙයාගේ තනියෙන් හිටපු ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකයි දැන් share කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකක් දෙන්නටම අයිති, මේ ඉලෙක්ට්‍රෝන එකක් දෙන්නටම අයිති. They are both sharing. That means these two electrons belong to this one and also to this one. Up to that point, is it clear, Stephanie? Okay. Now let's look at the electronic configuration. Now, if you look at this fluorine atom that is on the left, first energy level only 2 electrons, okay. Second energy level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The share කරන දෙන්න මෙයාට තයි තියෙන්නේ. So 7, 8. See, second energy level now 8 electrons are there. Then මෙයා බලුවොත් first energy level 2, second energy level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. මේ දෙන්න එයාට තයි. So 7, 8. So 2, 8 means a stable configuration. So the two fluorine atoms have become stable when forming this covalent bond. Is that clear, Stephanie? Any questions? Okay. Can you all first start drawing this, Lamai? Then I have another part to teach you here. Okay. Quickly draw this. Make it fast. Make it really fast. Huh? All right. Others also done drawing? Okay. Then lamai mehema හැමලේම අපිට draw කර කර ඉන්න අමාරුයි. So there need to be a simple way how we can show covalent bonds, right? එක method එකක් මෙන්න මෙහෙම එකක්. Okay. A method එක අපි මෙහෙම කරන්න. So listen very carefully. Now here we have two fluorine atoms no. මම එක fluorine atom එකක් green වලින් පෙන්නන්නම් අනිත් එක purple වලින් පෙන්නන්න. This is one fluorine atom. This is the other fluorine atom. Now, can you see, has anything happened to the electrons in the first energy level? Has anything happened to the electrons in the first energy level? No. Since nothing, බලන්න මේ first energy level එකේ තිබ්බ ටික එහෙමම මෙතනක් තියෙනවා. Nothing has changed. But the only thing that has changed is the electrons in the outermost energy level. Remember in the third lesson we said outermost energy level like in outermost energy level like we call it the valence shell. And the electrons in the outermost energy level, we call them valence electrons. Do you all remember that? Give me a thumbs up if you remember. Valence shell and valence electrons, do you all remember? Okay. So, in these covalent bonds and even ionic bonds, we are only talking about the outermost energy level. ඒක හින්දා අපි මේ simple විදියට මේක පෙන්නන්ති we don't care about the inner energy levels. We only care about the outermost energy levels, right? So, now only look at the outermost energy level. If you look at now, එක fluorine එකක් මම green වලින් පෙන්නන්නේ. අපි හිතමු මෙයා තමයි green කියලා. මෙයා තමයි green. දැන් අපි මේ අතුරු ඉන්න කටිය අපිට වැඩක් නැහැ. We are only considering the outermost energy level. ඔන්න බලන්න මෙතන තියෙනවා electrons දෙකක්. And those two electrons belong to this fluorine only. මෙයාට නේක තනි කරලා ඇති. මම ඒක පෙන්නනවා මෙහෙම. දෙකක් draw කරලා. These two electrons also only belong to this fluorine. දැන් මෙයා එළියෙම ඉන්න කට්ටිය විතර අපි draw කරන්නේ. These two electrons also only belong to this fluorine. Okay. Now මේ දෙන්නව share කරනවා තමයි. Share කරනවා කියන්නේ දෙකම දෙන්නටම අයිති. But still මේ දෙකෙන් එකයිනේ මෙයාගෙන් ආවේ. Right? මෙතනින් එකයි මෙයාගෙන් ආවේ. අනිත් එක ආවේ මෙයාගෙන්. So මෙයාගෙන් ආපු එක විතරක් මම මෙහෙම එක dot එකකින් පෙන්නනවා. Okay. Then what I do is, now let's move on to the other fluorine atom. Another fluorine atom, then මේක ළමයි when we have two atoms, එකක electrons අපි dots වලින් පෙන්නුවොත් අනිත් එක්කෙනාගේ electrons අපි crosses වලින් තමයි පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ. Now for an example, let's look at this fluorine. This fluorine I will show with purple. These two electrons only belong to this fluorine, so I can draw them like this. Since I showed these electrons in dots, මෙයාගොල්ලන් අපි crosses වලින් පෙන්නනවා. Then these two electrons also only belong to this fluorine. These two electrons also only belong to this fluorine, right? මේ share කරපු දෙන්නගෙන් එක්කෙනයි මෙයාගෙන් ආවේ. මම එක විතරක් මම cross එකකින් පෙන්නනවා. This is one way of how we can show a covalent bond. And මේක ළම එහෙම colors දෙකක් පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ඇත්තටම you have to use only one color. මම දෙකක් පෙන්නුවේ just so I could show it very clearly to you. This is one way of showing a covalent bond. We call it a dot and cross diagram. Is that clear to all of you? Give me a thumbs up, please. Okay. So this is called the Dot and cross diagram. Dot and cross diagram. Make some colors just so I could show it well, but you shouldn't use two different colors. You have to use only one color. Right? So that's one way. Let's look at the other way. ඊළඟ එකෙත් අපි ඒ විදිහටම තමයි කරන්නේ. The only difference is අපි දෙන්නගේ electrons dots වලින් විතරයි පෙන්නන්නේ. We don't use crosses. මෙතන දැන් එක්කෙනෙක්ගේ අපි dots වලින් පෙන්නුවා අනිත් එක්කෙනාගේ crosses වලින් පෙන්නුවා. In this one අපි දෙන්නගේ මේවා dots වලින් පෙන්නනවා. Fluorine, fluorine. So මෙයාගේ මේ දෙක තියෙනවා, මේ දෙක තියෙනවා, මේ දෙක තියෙනවා. මෙයාගේ මේ දෙක තියෙනවා, මේ දෙක තියෙනවා, and then these two. And then මැද උන් තමයි අපිට තියෙන්නේ share කරපු ඒවා. Share කරපු දෙන්නම මේ දෙකටම අයිති. So අරකමයි, the only difference is crosses are also shown as dots. This is called Lewis dot diagram. We call this Lewis dot diagram because a guy called Lewis තමයි මේක හොයාගන්නේ. We call this Lewis dot diagram. Is this clear to you, ළමයි? Others? Okay. Now finally we have another way of showing this, right? ඒක ළමයි Lewis dot diagram එක වගේම තමයි පෙන්නන්නේ. So I will just copy the same thing. Lewis dot diagram එක වගේම තමයි පෙන්නන්නේ. The only difference is that electrons දෙකක් share කරනකොට අපි කියනවා bond එකක් හදනවා. Now here fluorine එක මේ fluorine එක electron එකයි මේ fluorine එක electron එකයි, right? So one electron from each, there are two electrons shared. Two electrons shared means there is one bond. මෙතන කරන්නේ ඒ share කරන electrons දෙක අඳින්න නැතුව ඒක වෙනුවට we draw a line like this. This line means one bond. එක bond එකක් හැදෙන electrons දෙකකින්. So here මෙයාගේ එකයි two electrons are shared, no? That means there is one bond. So always one bond is shown using one line. This is called just Lewis structure. This is the best way to show covalent compounds, but අනිත් දෙකත් ඔයගොල්ලන් දැනගන්න ඕනේ. Did you all understand this?
Can you explaining it?
Lewis structure.
Yes.
Okay. Now what happens is in the Lewis dot diagram, we have methanium in the කට්ටිය එහෙමම ඉන්නවා, no problem. ඒගොල්ලන් ඒ atoms වලට අයිති no problem. ඒකම තමයි මෙතනත් තියෙන්නේ. The only difference is that the middle. Here two electrons are shared. One electron is from this fluorine. The other electron is from this fluorine. So these two electrons are shared, right? When two electrons are being shared, we call it a bond. So ඒ වගේ bond එකක් අපි electrons දෙක මෙහෙම වෙන වෙනම draw කරන්න නැතුව, instead of that we just draw one line. This is the bond, right? So that is the Lewis structure. Is that clear, Sasheli?
Yes, thank you, Miss.
Okay. So in the future we are going to be talking about like how 2 bonds, 3 bonds හැදෙන විදිහ අපි කතා කරනවා, right? Okay. So, okay. And one last thing that I make up draw කරගන්න ඕනේ. ඊට කලින් තව last එකක් මම ඔයාලට කියන්න ඕනේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් in a covalent bond මේ තනියෙන් ඉන්න කට්ටිය ඉන්නවනේ. Now if you look at this one. මෙන්න මේ electrons දෙක තනියෙන් ඉන්න pair එකක් විදිහට තනියෙන් ඉන්නවා. Right? Then මේ electrons දෙකත් pair එකක් but තනියෙන් ඉන්නේ. මේ electrons උත් pair එකක් තනියෙන් ඉන්නේ, right? So මේ තනියෙන් ඉන්න pairs වලට අපි කියනවා lone pairs. We call them lone pairs. Lone pair. So මෙතන එක lone pair එකක් තියෙනවා 1, 2, 3 and then here 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 lone pairs of electrons in this compound. Right? Then මැද share කරලා ඉන්න pair එකට අපි කියනවා bond pair කියලා. මැද share කරලා ඉන්න pair එකට අපි කියනවා bond pair. So these are all electrons ළමයි, yeah? share කරන්න නැතුව තනි තනියෙන් ඉන්න pairs වලට we call them lone pairs. share කරලා මැද ඉන්න pair එකට we call it bond pair. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Can you all quickly copy this lone pair bond pair එකයි මේ dot cross diagrams ටිකයි ටක් ගාලා copy කරගන්න බලන්න, make it fast. Quickly. Once you copy that down, we can wrap up. Make it fast.
Done with.
Okay. Others also done? Give me a thumbs up, everybody, if you have finished. Dihansas, Stephanie, Tenuji. Okay. I think with that, we can wrap up. So I hope you remember the announcements that I told you. One is about the 6th and 8th lessons, which the recordings will be shared during this week. So you have to come and watch and come before 7th of July, which is our next class, where we will be doing a quiz. Also, Maria, I read your message. Try your best to watch and we'll see them. And then in the following week, I will send you the World of Life 13th lesson recording. So that also you have to watch during next week. And then 14th of July, ek quiz එක අපි කරනවා. ඒ අතරේ chemical bonds we will be finishing next week. There's not much left now. So chemical bonds will be finishing next week. And we will be starting reproduction. ඒකේ note එකත් මේ week එකේ මම එවනවා. So ඒකේ note එකත් ඔයගලන් print out එකක් අරන් තියෙන්න ඕනේ 7th of July වෙද්දී. Reproduction lesson, right? So then by I think 14th of July, we are done with all the second term lessons. So we could leisurely do the rest of the lessons, right? And finish them fast and start grade 11. Okay, so that's it. We'll wrap up. We will be seeing each other next week, which is 7th of July, same time. And maths class in a kattiya, just a small note, we will be finishing tomorrow's class at 10, right? Okay, so that's it. Any questions from what we did today, or is everything clear? If everything is clear, give me a thumbs up, please. From everything we did today. Okay. Okay. Then let's see each other next week. Until then, have a great week, Lamai. And good night. Good night.